Hello everyone, it's been a while since I've come live. Currently the geese are locked up because I've got the babies outside. Come on, babies. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, mm, mm. So, let me introduce everyone on YouTube to our little Bar Headed Goslings. So if y'all have never seen a bar-headed goose, I really recommend you guys look up a photo of them after this video, after this live. I'm not going to be live for long. I just wanted y'all to see the babies. We got little feathers coming in. These guys are a little bit older. They're probably about 4 weeks old. I think 4 weeks old tomorrow. Actually, no, today. I think they're about 4 weeks old now. We got them when they were about 10 days old. And they are bar-headed goslings. These are from Europe. They did not come from Europe directly, but the breed is from Europe. And these geese are known for living in the Himalayas. And they are known for flying really, really, really high. It is the highest flying goose in the world. They fly so high that they are believed to be capable of flying above Mount Everest. So yeah, like over 30,000 feet is what they're like. They have a special kind of like mechanics within their body that allows them to process oxygen and the thin air and the freezing cold much better than other geese. Right, babies? Their names are Godzilla. This is Godzilla. And this is Mothra. So it's Godzilla and Mothra. One of them is a male, one of them is a female. Hello. And they are unrelated, so they are not brother and sister. This way, if they do decide to mate, which they mate for life, if they do, they will be able to have young and it won't be a problem. They're going to be smaller than the Canada geese, but bigger than Squirt, our little cackling. They're imprinted on me, so they see me as mama. And here very soon, once they're just a little bit bigger, a little bit more mature, they're going to be friends with Dodo. So that when Dodo, our Sebastopol gosling, who is now a little juvenile, once Dodo is old enough to go outside, and these guys are old enough to go outside, they will go out together, and that way they have each other and Dodo won't have to be alone. Come on, babies. Show you guys. So I know a lot of you are going to think, oh my God, this is adorable. See, I locked up my geese. They're not happy right now. The reason I did that is to keep these guys safe and to introduce them to each other safely without having to, hi Paul, without having to worry about any of my geese potentially being mischievous or being naughty. And I can focus on the babies and on keeping them safe without having to worry about my geese having an attitude about anything. Oh yeah, I got a nice big bushel of kale in the fridge, Paul. Right, babies? Look at you, got seeds on your beak. Got seeds on your beak, look at you. Look at the babies. Look at them, they're getting feathers. They grow way too fast. But they're still so tiny. They're still little. They're gonna be smaller than the Canadas and bigger than Squirt. So like literally like a step in between. Come on, babies, let's go in the shade. Did you guys find something you like? Hmm? Mothra is finally starting to grow in a couple feathers. Godzilla's already got a bunch of shoulder feathers going on and some tail feathers going on. They need a bath again. Little messy little babies. But they are just so cute. And I love them so much. An interesting fact about these guys, they are much louder than the Canada goslings. Like, Canada goslings are not, Come on. Canada goslings are not as loud as these guys. These guys are definitely much more vocal. I wonder why. Because most of the time, it's the domestics that are very vocal. But, oh yes. Squirt's got small goose syndrome. Let's not eat the mulberry tree leaves. I don't know if those are good for you. Come here, babies. Let's go to the pool. Come on. Notice how they respond right away when I make that noise, that like that really kind of low sound. The reason I use that noise is because it is one of the universal goose sounds that basically tells the babies that they're too far away, they're unsafe, or there's potentially something dangerous. Come on, babies. Come on. Save you real quick. There you go. Come on. They're so mad at me. I know, babies. I'm sorry. I know. I'm sorry. Be nice to Squirt. I heard that. Yep, water. See? There's water. Yep, see? Water. There you go. Good job. Oh, you're going to try to climb in? I was just trying to show you guys so you guys can get a sit. I guess you're going to try to get in. If you go in, I'm not going to let you be in for long. Right. Oh, there we go. Apparently, we've decided to have some playtime in the water. Oh my goodness. Come here, Godzilla. Come here, I'll help you. There you go, baby. Look at that difference, though. How quickly they get wet when they don't have a mama. Why are you upset, baby? You're okay. You don't have to be scared, Mothra. You're okay. All right, Godzilla. Mama's going to have to keep an eye on you to make sure you don't get cold. Let's go in the sun, baby. Come on. Godzilla's like, I want to go back in there. That was fun. Right? Right away, they're like, ooh, yay. Hey, you know, keeping up the morale of your employees is much more important than losing 5 minutes of productivity. Just saying. Just saying. There you go. There's some sun right here. So the interesting thing of the bar-headeds is that since they do live in the Himalayas, they don't seem to respond as quickly to like cold. Like whereas like Dodo, if she got wet like this outside and it wasn't super hot, which it isn't today, it's probably like I'd say probably in the 70s right now, just guessing. Like it's nice today. Like probably mid to high 70s probably. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. Get that out of there. Okay. And you can see that he's not really responding to like having gotten wet and being a little bit chilly. Like the water is actually pretty cold, but he doesn't really seem to care. And I think it's because they just have that naturally, that they're more adapt to dealing with colder temperatures. You just avoided getting pooped on your head, Lucky. I don't know if it's because of where they're from. In my opinion, goslings in general, we got zoomies. I'm trying to keep up. My goodness. Oh my goodness. Did you make yourself dizzy? Come on. Mothra. Mothra, come on. Good job. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, mm, mm. You okay, babies? Mothra. You need to groom yourself, baby. Just stay in front of me where I can see you. Exactly. It is very cold. I mean, like, at the tip of Mount Everest, think about it. People literally will just freeze to death instantly. So, like they sit down and then they're frozen. It's common that if you, like, people who climb Mount Everest have to, like, walk past literal graves of, like, mummified frozen humans. So the fact that they can handle that stuff is insane. Like, it's just crazy that they can deal with that, those kind of temperatures. Mm, 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 mm. So if you ever have your goslings with you and you want them to immediately come back to you, that kind of slow, drawn out sound, it works every time. It doesn't matter what breed it is. It works every single time. You can call them back. They will immediately come running to you. If you continue the sound, they will, like, if you, like, bend down like this and you continue the sound, they will literally try to get underneath you. So they recognize the sound as an alert, as a warning, as a, hey, something's wrong, something dangerous is going on. Quick, we have to get to cover, you know? But I don't know how much it has to do with them being a different breed, since they did spend, why are you being so unstable, Goofy? Since they did spend the first 10 days with their breeder lady, and she was caring for them the first 10 days. They do like they love romaine lettuce. Like these guys, my geese, I don't usually really start them on romaine lettuce. I usually focus more on kale in the beginning. That's like the first vegetable or green leaf I introduced them to, because you're trying to get it. Here. You're trying to get to that? Is that what you're trying to get? No? Okay. Godzilla, you cold? Come here, baby. So, Mothra is the cuddly one. Godzilla is the adventurous one. I do believe Godzilla, being slightly larger and them being the same age, is the male. Godzilla is also slightly darker than Mothra. I don't know why. It just is that way. Part of me is like, ooh, I hope I got an accidental hybrid. But, yeah, these guys really love romaine lettuce, but I think it's because their own, like their original owner, like their breeder, I think it's because what she gave them, so that's what they got used to right in the beginning. I haven't really noticed a lot of difference between them and the other goslings. Now, these guys are, the only main difference I've noticed is that these guys are much more focused on greens than the domestics, and even seem more focused on wanting greens than even the Canadas. So like with Canada goslings, they seem to really like having greens all the time and are not as interested in the feed as greens when they have the option of both. Whereas these guys, like, they will only eat the feed if there's no other option. Whereas the Canadas, they'll prefer the greens, but they'll still eat the grain or feed. Um, and these guys, they won't touch the feed unless there's no greens around. That's what I've noticed difference-wise. And then when it comes to domestics, domestics seem to almost prefer the feed over the greens. Like, they enjoy the greens, but they still will eat the feed consistently, and they will even leave greens to go eat feed. That's kind of the... See, here's the funny thing about getting the babies to eat the greens. Is that in the beginning they don't like anything. Like, they're not interested in any of it. Even if, like, you take baby goslings outside, a lot of times they won't even really eat the grass, especially if you didn't expose them to it right away. Like, it takes a minute of, like, messing with it and, like, ripping it off and then handing it to them. Stay close. Thank you. See how they immediately come over? Heads go up and they come over to me. It's best recall you can use. I'm telling you. It helps so much. Because it keeps them close to you when you need them to be. Hey, Mothra. Hey, Mothra. I'm not surprised that you're the one that jumped in the pool. Because you are a mischief. Godzilla's the mischief. Mothra, she's the cuddle bug. Mothra. I guess not right now. Usually she's the cuddle bug. Mm, mm. Mm, mm, mm. And yes, I will make that sound every time I see a car. If we can see a car, I will make that sound because I want them to fear cars. I want them to associate vehicles with bad. And I do this about other things too. Like if there's an Aryan predator around and I spot it and it's low enough to where we can see it, I will look up, same way the parents do, and I will open my arms similar to the geese will open their wings, and I will start making that sound. And that way I'm basically teaching them what predators to fear and what things to fear. And it actually helps a lot to teach them that way, because that's how the parents teach them, and that way they'll recognize things that they need to be aware of, that are dangerous, that they need to stay away from. That's funny. Yeah, that's the thing too, is people don't realize, like, these animals are taught by their parents. A lot of animals are. And so, like, I mean, in Canada geese, for an example, a lot of people think that they move on once they can fly, which is not true. They stay with their parents for, like, the first year of their life. They stay near their parents and they continue to learn from their parents and to be taught by their parents how to, like, function in the world and how to forage and how to, migrate. Get, Brownie. So it's like they are looking to us to teach them and to guide them and let them know how things work. Hi, Godzilla. Yeah, I know. I know. Martha. I love their, like, eyeliner. These guys have really dark eyeliner around their eyes. You wanna lay down? Godzilla always making Mothra get up. Yes, baby. Oh my God. Mm, 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 mm. I know your chest a little bit sensitive, huh? You're getting new feathers. I know, baby. Let's see. You said our own wildlife departments apparently didn't know that when they transplanted all those hatchery geese across the U.S. I know, right? They're essentially why we have resident geese. Exactly. And it's not because we feed them. That BS. Yes, I'm sure migratory birds are just going to magically stick around in an area because once in a while a human throws them some food. That's not how that works. You're not going to break that instinct and that knowledge. And even the residential geese, a lot of people don't realize that they still migrate. They just don't migrate as far. Like they have like usually somewhere between a 100 and like I think it's 1 to 2 or 300 mile radius that they will still migrate around. So they'll still go to like a neighboring state, like say like a residential Texas goose will still go to like Oklahoma, or we'll still go to like like a neighboring state location like Louisiana or something. Wait, Alabama? No, it's Louisiana, right? I don't know. I'm pulling a blank here. But my point is that, like, just because they're residential does not mean they don't, like, hop around, but they do something more like pond hopping, where, like, they have certain lakes, ponds, and rivers that are, that they know of. And then when they grew up, like when we initially like set out all these birds without their parents as young adults who were never taught to migrate or how to migrate or where to migrate to, they will still fly and they will still feel the drive to want to go south or north, but they don't know where they're going. They don't understand what the goal is, and they don't know what landmarkers really to look at. So what they did is mainly out of instinct will focus on the ponds, the rivers, and the lakes. So when they focus on those things, they then would basically go a little bit north and find a nice place and then settle there, not knowing that they're supposed to keep going or where they're supposed to go to. So they would find a nice place just flying around random and then decide that this is the place they wanted to go to for the next couple of months. And then that's how we got these like residential geese that are basically pond hopping, but they do this for several hundred miles. Not super far, but they still have a fairly big radius, and they will even go as far as like going to a neighboring state. But they're still considered residential geese because they're not migrating thousands of miles, like say, like over 1,000 miles, like say the Canadas that are actually migrating, that are migrating all the way from like Texas to Canada or whatever, or like the cackling that are migrating all the way from like North Canada to like to like Mexico, as in the country Mexico. Oh yeah, these guys. So the way the lady did it, the lady that hatched them out, so she keeps them for like the first week of their life. Which you can debate whether or not that's the right thing or wrong thing to do. I mean, everybody's going to have their opinions about that. But she keeps them for the first week of their life, and she actually imprints them on her. And so she spends time with them and kind of like tames them down or whatever and gets them kind of imprinted on humans. And then she like sells them to you. And then you basically receive a pre-imprinted gosling. Now, the thing is, when they first arrived, this is not my personal preferred version of doing this because I much prefer having them imprint on me from the get-go. My favorite, way of raising goslings obviously is to hatch them out myself and then raise them from scratch because there's a lot of benefits to that in my opinion. But also, though, when you do that, you want to make sure that they either have a friend or that you have other geese around that they can socialize with on occasion. A common method for this is to have them basically be almost completely with the human for the first 4 weeks and not really interact with the geese at all or with other birds. And then, like, once they get to that 4 week mark, you start introducing them so that then they can start learning that socializing and everything while they're still babies. But they also have a strong bond with their human. And it makes for a bird that's not going to have issues, say like pretty bird, where they have self-identity issues and like try to mate their human because they've learned that they're a goose, but at the same time they still have that amazing connection with you because you are the parent and they were focused on you for the first few weeks of their life. I found something that needs to be picked up. It's the trash. Not good. Anyways, but these guys, come on, babies. But these guys are definitely, so just so you guys know, they have a little, like, pool in there. They have a large drinking bucket where they can easily fit their entire neck into it and a whole head, like, no problem. And then in the very back, they have another smaller drinking bowl where Squirt can fit her entire head, and an adult goose could fit their nostrils. It could fit their nostrils underwater in that pool as well. So a regular sized goose can fit their whole beak, and Squirt can easily fit her whole head in that one. So they have 3 water sources, 2 food sources, 2 kennels, and that little slide thing in that aviary for them to be safe and have food and water. Just a little side note, so nobody thinks that I shoved them in there and that they don't have water or food or something. You know, just saying. I need to come back to that here in a little while. But yeah, these guys are, when they first arrived, they were definitely screaming for that other lady, like the person who initially imprinted them. They were definitely scared. And it did take them about 24 to 48 hours to accept me. Where you guys want to go? You want to go? You want to walk? All right, let's go walk. Come on. Anyway, so it definitely took them about 24 to 48 hours for them to like fully imprint on me and like switch that imprint around, which is something that's definitely possible. It's just that I much prefer having the original imprint on me. Maybe I'm just super picky or something. It's just my preference. I do believe that the imprint that you get from the original imprint when they initially hatch. Hey, you're standing on my foot. Excuse me. I can't move. Excuse me. Thank you. I do believe that the imprint you get from right in the beginning when they hatch is much deeper and much more, like much stronger than the imprint that you get from a secondary imprint or from what I consider to be the survival imprint. So the reason I call it the survival imprint is because goslings are so common to want to imprint on anything that's larger than them if they lose their parent. And the reason they do this is because, well, they need to survive and they need something to protect them, someone to protect them. And in their instincts, they know that other Canada geese or, other geese in general will generally adopt them if they're the same size as those geese's babies. And this is very common in the Canada goose world. But goslings in general, they'll try to find something that will accept them as their babies and protect them, that they can follow around to be safe. And look at how they walk. It cracks me up. They keep doing that with their feet every time they walk through high grass. But, come here. Yeah, there's some water. So anyways, like I said, that's why I call it the survival imprint. It's a survival imprint. It's not the original imprint, and it's not as deep as the original imprint, in my opinion, in my experience. And even though it's still an amazing imprint, That imprint is much easier to lose if you don't nurture it, from my experience. And it's also much easier for that imprint to switch over to another human or to another animal if you, again, don't nurture it. So the survival imprint almost in a way takes more work when it comes to you putting in the effort to nurture that imprint. Whereas with the regular imprint, like the right from scratch hatch, you're the first person they're imprinting on. With that one, it's definitely they're much more attached to you in that case now, which also means that 24/7 they're screaming for you. So like if these guys cry for me, they will calm down, whether it's my son, my daughter, or my husband who give them attention, or whether it's me. They will calm down because their thing is just they want any human, right, to come and comfort them. Whereas when it comes to Dodo, when Dodo was a baby, Dodo would continue screaming her little head off if I left, and it didn't matter who was with Dodo. It didn't matter if it was my husband or my son. Dodo would still continue to scream. The only time Dodo would calm down if it was my daughter who would come in, and Dodo would calm down after a little while and then accept my daughter as comfort, because my daughter was around a lot more from the beginning than my husband and son. But it's kind of interesting how it works differently with each of them in those case scenarios. One second. Let me set you guys down right here for just a minute. There we go. Getting their grit. This is how geese will get their grit. And they need all those tiny rocks and those little, like that little dirt that they're getting from here. They need that to be properly able to properly digest the greens that they eat. So it's actually really important for your birds to have access to grit. Now, I much prefer using the natural grit, like letting them forage outside for grit, rather than using the store-bought grit. That's just my personal opinion because I've heard a lot of bad stories about store-bought grit. And just personally, like if you get grit wet, like the store-bought one, if you get it wet and smell it, it smells gross. It smells like musky. Like, I don't know, something off about it. So I don't like it. I don't know what they put in it or what they do with it, but I just don't like it. So I much prefer them foraging for it, and getting it the natural way than to give them something that's been prepared by humans and Lord knows what they've put into it or how they've treated it or quote unquote cleaned it. Let's see. You agree with me. Yay. You'd rather be the first imprint. Yeah. I imagine what you did might be beneficial to less knowledgeable owners. So, yes, I think so too. I think it probably helps, like, people in general just get a gosling, like, where the gosling's going to be much more friendly. And when it's more friendly from the get-go, the people are more likely to spend, like, more time with it and pay attention to it, right? Because it's being really sweet. So, I think, you know, she has her reasons for that. And this lady, she owns the largest aviary in the U.S., like the largest covered aviary in the U.S. Her facility is beautiful. I'm pretty sure she runs a rescue, like rehab and like as in like a sanctuary rescue and breeding facility. So like it's kind of like a combo thing where she's taken in animals and helped animals and all that stuff. And like I don't know if it's conservation or rescue, I forget, but it's a beautiful place up in New York. And I did just talk to another lady who has met her, has been to her facility, and she said it's gorgeous, it's clean. Her geese, age-wise, are averaging into their late 20s, early 30s before they pass. So obviously they're being treated really well. So, you know, and have good bloodlines. But Oh yeah, that's what I tell people. Like when you're raising goslings for about 8 weeks, it's the equivalent to having a human baby or human toddler. Like you cannot really leave them alone, and you're constantly waking up all night long, and they constantly want to be with you, and it's a non-stop thing. Now, usually once they get to about, I want to say about 6 or 7 weeks, I would say probably about 7 weeks old, they calm down a lot. Like at that point, they calm down like a huge amount, and they become much more like they become much less like paranoid about like not being right there where they can touch you, right? Like and they become much more content just like say like sleeping on the floor next to your bed versus like in your bed, or like you having to like touch, like having your arm hang off and like touch them all night, you know what I mean, like, and have like your hand there for them to cuddle with, like that definitely changes around that age, usually most of the time. Especially if they have siblings, it calms down a lot around that time. When they don't have siblings, they are definitely more picky, more attached, but still, again, it still calms down around that time. They do become a little more independent. Oh yeah, when it comes to the grit, I'm telling you, I genuinely believe that them doing this is the best version of it. Like I've never had any problems with this, and like I've always just allowed them to go to areas, especially like little areas like driveways and such that are like this, where there's just a lot of like tiny, like tiny rocks and like itty bitty here, like there's like all these itty bitty little rocks in here that are like tiny sand and rocks and all that stuff that's been pulverized over time. And this, in my opinion, is like the best thing. Like my geese, this is where they get their grit all the time, is on this driveway. And they just use this driveway right here. It goes all the way that way. And they use this driveway to like forage their grit out. And it works great. Like personally, I think this is like the best version of it. And even at the last house, like I would find spots where there was a lot of like rocks or something and like clear it up a little bit so they could reach to it with their beaks. And then that's just what they used for grit. And then also I would like have them come to the front yard to where the driveway was and then use that. But then I I also am careful about it, like where I don't generally like letting them forage the grit, especially in a younger age. I'm more picky about where I let them forage for grit. So like I won't let them forage for grit in locations where like I know cars are parked generally. So like I will let them forage in areas where maybe the car drives over, but not usually where it's parked. You know what I mean? Like so that just in case there's any kind of issues with like leakage or something like that from the vehicle, they're not going to be foraging for grit white where there was like an oil leak or something. So that's something to keep in mind where there's like a level of risk there. But like I said, I do try to kind of maneuver them around into the locations that I think are most safe for them to forage in. No, I don't disagree with you. There's always a level of risk, especially on a property where, like with ours, where we have the owners do a lot of scrap metal here. So yes, there's a little level of risk, but that's why like I am. I mean, I don't know how much you've seen some of the videos and some of the posts I've made, but that's why I'm constantly out here like looking for stuff. Like we are scanning the ground, and my kids are basically trained to pay really close attention to the ground when they walk around and to remove anything that even remotely looks like trash or isn't supposed to be out there in nature. So it doesn't matter how small it is. If we spot something that's not supposed to be on the floor, we pick it up and it goes into our pocket. And then once we get close to the trash, we empty our pockets. And like, and that's what we do continuously throughout the day. Oh, let me get underneath the shade a little bit. It's hot out here. Crazy babies. Yep. Soon, Mama needs to get you guys back inside. Yeah. So I'm going to let the other goosies out. It's just such nice weather today. Mama wanted to let you guys out because it's not too hot and not too cold. Hmm? You got a bunch of feathers on your beak. Look at you. You got a messy beak. You got a messy beak. I think you're starting to molt out your baby feathers and getting your big boy feathers. Come here. Come here. Come here. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. You might get your feathers from your beak. Come here. Come on. You want to cuddle? I've always also noticed that the baby geese much prefer foraging. Um, I'm always really fascinated with what these babies want to forage when I take them out, because if I take them onto like the thick lush grass, they don't do nearly as much foraging and eating as they do when you take them onto areas that are like this, where it's like more sparse grass growth, like especially areas that are like this right here. Like you can see, they eat a lot more in these locations. And I think the reason for it is because a lot of this grass is young. Like this is baby grass growing in everywhere. And they really prefer the baby grass, like the young grass, over the like more mature, longer grass. Um, so I often will take them onto these areas where they like to forage a lot more than to take them onto the more thicker grass or longer grass. And I do my best to try to use that app, picture this, and to look up the different plants that they like, to try and make sure that nothing that they're eating is toxic or bad for them. Now, to an extent, it is believed that they can tell, that they know what they can and can't eat, that they can taste whether or not it's poisonous or toxic to them. But I try to look it up and like keep them away from things that I know are supposedly toxic or poisonous, to try and protect them. But there's so many plants on the ground, you can't really guarantee it 100%, but we can do our best to protect them. Oh yeah, it is crazy. Oh yeah, that's one of the things I want. I want a metal detector, especially once we buy property. I want a metal. I mean, this property probably would go off nonstop with all the scrap metal they've done here. But I hope to get a metal detector at some point when we get our own land, and really check everything. And then I also hope to find a way to like clean the pond, um like I was thinking about maybe trying to use something like fish net, like like how you can do fishing for fish with like that net, where like you throw the net in and then pull the net out, and then the fish like get trapped in a net. I want to try that kind of stuff to like clean out the pond, if we end up with a pond on a property that we own in the future, um to try and like get it as clean as I can, to try and also pick up things that are down on the ground. I also want to get a magnet fishing thing, so that I can throw in a magnet into the water and then pull out anything that's metal, that's magnetic, out of the pond, so that I can try and get it as clean as I can. And then, yeah, it is crazy, like the amount of just crap that's in those ponds. It is very, very crazy. Um, Yeah, it's kind of funny. They almost look like what they make me think of is hybrids. Like hybrid Canada goslings is kind of what they remind me of. Like they have that kind of Canada shape of their body and everything. Like their tail and everything is straight out, like that, that almond shape of their body. But then I don't know. They also seem to have similarities to like the domestics. And maybe it's just because we're so used to the wild ones having black beaks and black feet, that it's throwing us off that they have like light beaks and light feet. Because their beaks and feet are gonna be orange, pink, like orange, I think, pinkish orange colors. So that's gonna be a factor. That's one of the things I find fascinating too. Is that no matter what goslings you have, whether they're domestic, whether they are Canada's or wild ones, whether they are from the American continent or from the European continent. In this case, European continent, doesn't matter where they're from, they all make the same twirling cooing sound. I forget. It's like bar headeds make a sound that either goes or I forget which one it is, but it's like a almost like it's honking a horn. It's pretty funny. Oh yes. Why do you think I made that little video of Dodo when she was sleeping next to me and she was cooing up a storm? And I made that little video of like just the cooing for a while, and it's just the twirling nonstop for like what is it, 2 minutes or something? Um, yeah, I did that, and you don't hear me in that video. Like I wasn't doing the sound back or anything. It's all Dodo, and I did that on purpose because I was like, that sound. If somebody plays that on repeat, like one of our people, they're gonna be able to sleep so good. Like I'm so used to that sound being something I consider calming and like something that makes me happy that like if I'm holding the babies and they're falling asleep and they're cooing, I'll be falling asleep within minutes. Like I'm like trying to stay awake. I'm like up, nope. Because they put you to sleep when they get cuddly. It's just like a human baby. A sleeping human baby on your chest, you're gonna fall asleep. But these guys do the same thing. And these guys really do love cuddles. One of the things that Mothra really usually likes is for my hand to be under her chest and then for her to lay down on my hand. It's one of the things that she seems to really enjoy usually. See how she waited for me to put my hand out of the way? She's like, hello, I'm trying to clean myself here. Woman. Excuse me. I don't think Dodo really cares much for Bob, to be honest. They don't hang out that much. Now, their brooders are all in like the living room right now. So like during the day when they are inside, because like Bob and Dodo are going to go outside as soon as I let my Canadas out. Bob and Dodo will go into the aviary and spend time out there. And then I spend that time with them out there as much as I can, or whenever I do chores, I stop by and say hi. Um, Dodo will scream for me, as Dodo always has. Does this like sound, this screaming sound, which is so sweet, but also funny, but also sad. I don't know, mixed emotions about it because I've never had a gosling make that sound before because it sounds literally like Dodo's going, Mom! Like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you, babies. Um, but like it sounds like that's the sound that Dodo's making when she calls, and it's strange. But like funny too. Like it literally sounds like she's calling Ma or Mom. But and I don't even know if I've ever caught it on camera, but I'll need to try and catch it. But Dodo definitely is still very imprinted and definitely still wants to be with us nonstop and like follows me around whenever I allow Dodo to follow me around. But at the same time, I'm trying for Dodo to have that interaction with Bob for learning how to be a goose, and then also be outside in the aviary so the other geese can meet Dodo and they can start forming some level of a relationship so that eventually, over time, Dodo will be able to be out with the gaggle and they will accept Dodo. But also, I plan to introduce Mothra and Godzilla to Dodo, so that they can become like a kind of like a mini gaggle, so that when I do introduce them to the geese officially and they start spending the night outside, like Dodo won't spend the night outside until Dodo and Mothra and Godzilla have bonded. So until they've created their own little gaggle, and then they can go out together and then they'll be divided. They'll be protected behind like a fence line where they'll be inside the aviary with the other geese, but there'll be like a fencing to divide them, which is the same thing I did with my Land Before Time goslings and with my other 5 Canadas. And that way they can continue to hang out. But then during the day, even if the gaggle does not accept them yet while they're out and they need to kind of like be away from them, they'll have each other and they're not going to just be alone. Like Dodo's not going to be this like lone outsider while these guys have each other and then the rest of the gaggle has each other and then Dodo's all by herself. Like, I don't want that. So that's why the goal is for Dodo, Mothra, and Godzilla to become the kind, like to become a little gaggle almost in a way. And then I'm hoping that as the bigger geese go off to like go hang out at the pond and whatever, that see, look, they'll come over here. I'm crouching down right here, and they usually will come and lay down right next to wherever I am, by the way. but but yeah, it's that's kind of the plan when it comes to Dodo and these goslings, is for them to become their own little gaggle that then will be introduced to the main gaggle over time. And Dodo will be spending days outside most of the time, unless the weather's too extreme, and at nights indoors, so that Dodo can get used to being outside. And also with Dodo's size, like Dodo needs to be outside foraging and stuff like that at this point. And I'll try to make sure that I come live again with Dodo soon so that you guys can see how big Dodo got, because Dodo's getting real big. Let's see. Have you ever seen non-Canada goslings fight with each other or wrestle? It seems the Canada goslings do that on occasion. Not really. I have to say, not. I mean, these guys not, and then even with the domestics, not really. I've not like noticed anything like where I've been like, oh my god, look at them, they're fighting, or like they're having sibling like spats or whatever. That seems to almost be a Canada thing so far. Now, I don't know if with these guys it even would be possible. I don't know. If maybe they do sometimes, but I just have not witnessed these guys do it. But then again, my experience with raising wild goslings, like wild breeds, is limited to Canada geese and now bars. Squirt didn't come to me until she was 6 months old. So she was definitely fully grown, but she was pretty much an adult by then, like almost. So, and not acting like a tiny baby anymore at that point. So, and then with Pretty Bird, he didn't have any other animals around really. Now, I did attempt to get him a duck friend that was similar in size to him. And I can just tell you guys, it was a disaster. It was a absolute disaster. I tried to introduce him properly. I followed all of the advice online, and Pretty Bird could not stand that duckling. Like, he would just pluck that duckling. And I felt so bad for it. And then I found this lady who was a vet tech, who had like a couple of ducks in her yard, and I ended up rehoming the duckling because I just felt so bad for it, because I couldn't keep it with Pretty Bird. So then it was all alone and it was crying all the time, and it wanted to be with Pretty Bird, but when I put it with Pretty Bird would beat it up. So yeah, Pretty Bird was being a little jealous little juvenile butt. Yes. You are just the cutest little babies. Hi. Look at the eyeliner. Isn't that so pretty? Don't they remind you of Canada's a little bit? Just if you change the beak to black. I mean, they do this number a lot. Like sitting like this. Like, I need to make sure I record this so I can screenshot this moment. Isn't that funny? What are you doing? I don't know if this is a bar thing or if other goslings do this too, but I've never noticed goslings do it as often as she does it. I don't know if that's just a personality thing. Isn't that hilarious how she sits there? Probably. Right? But I haven't really seen Godzilla do it as much as Mothra does it. Mothra does it the most. He has done it a couple of times, but like Mothra does it the most, and I wonder if it's like like a personality thing. Like it's just she just likes doing it. But how funny would it be if she keeps doing this like into adulthood, and this is just like how she sits. Like she just likes it. Wouldn't that be hilarious to have like an adult bar-headed goose that like sits like that? I just can't help but think that that would be the funniest thing. Right, Godzilla? You're finally grooming? Good boy. Yeah, you cleaned up? Yes, Bubba's. You guys need a bath. Like a proper bath inside the house. In the bathtub with warm water. Hey, Mothra. See, she wants to lay down when I put my hand like this. See? She leans into my hand. Nope, you can't. She tries to always put her foot on my hand too. Come here. Mothra. Look at your beak, it's so messy. You're definitely molting out those baby feathers. Look at you. Look at his beak, it's so messy. Look. Look at that. Ah, hold still, let Mama see. Mama see. Let me show them. Your beak is so messy. Your beak is so messy. Look at you, so messy. Look at you. You are molting. You're molting into a big goose. Stop it. Stop it. Stay babies. No more growing up. Stay babies. I know. They're going to be gorgeous as adults. I think bar-headeds are gorgeous. I always wanted them, and I could never, like, and everyone agreed with me. I was like, I've never seen anybody who sells bar-head goslings. It's usually always like, like 4-month-olds or 6-month-olds or like adult pairs, like 1-year-old adult pairs, like, or like 2-year-olds, like breeding pairs. Like but you're never, like you don't usually ever find anybody selling bar-head goslings. And when I found, it was on Soft Bills, when I found these guys for sale and I'd confirmed that the source was legit, because anybody watching this in the future, keep in mind, there's a lot of scammers out there when it comes to exotic birds. You're going to have to be real careful, and you're going to want to make sure you check. There's a couple ways you can check to make sure that they're legit, but that's something for like an actual video. Come here. Godzilla, you have a bunch of fur on your little nose. Come here. Come on, Godzilla. Come on, clean your beak. Godzilla, come here. Come here. Nope, you're not listening. You're not listening. Come here. Give me your beak. Give me your beak. Give me your beak. Give me your beak. Give me. Let me have it, you goof. Come here. Mommy's not nipping you. Mommy's just cleaning up your beak, baby. Come on. Come on. Get some water. Get some water. Nope. Mothra. uh. All right, babies. Y'all need to go back inside. Mommy needs to dump the other carrier bucket because we need to clean it up for today. I know they're getting big, but they're also so tiny. Like, compared to Canada's these guys are like 4 weeks old, guys. Like, they're 4 weeks old and they're little. I think, because they're going to be smaller than Canada's, it's just kind of strange because I'm used to them being bigger by now, you know? Like, they're little. Like, when you look at how little they are, comparing the size, they look like size-wise, they seem to be more towards like the 2 week mark in Canada's. Also, what I found interesting is their legs seem longer than the Canada Goslings. Like, ever since I got them from the get-go, I've always thought that their legs seem to be longer than that of Canada Goslings, which I thought was interesting. And I wonder if it's because they're like up in the mountains and stuff and have to deal with high grass and, like climbing up and down like areas, and I don't know. Just wondering if there's like something to do with the location. Babe, can you help me real quick? I got the babies over here. Could you hand me my water and their bucket?
Your water and what?
And their bucket right there, because I got to clean it out. Thanks. Thank you, love. Exactly. Most people would, especially us who are used to Canada's, but these guys, they're already old. I mean, think about it. With their feathers coming in, they are like, yeah, they should be right now, like, let's see, they were born, no, they're 3.5 weeks old. Let's see. Wait, let's see. 10. Let's see, 15, 25. Wait, hold on. Hold on. Let me figure this out. I might be wrong about the age. Hold on. Hold on. 1 second, guys. Stick with me for a second. Okay, I wonder if their color pattern would remain similar if they were crossed with white Sebastopol. Yeah, oh yeah, I know. I mean, you saw the Canadas that are crossed with Sebastopol, which are absolutely gorgeous. So imagine having these guys crossed with a Sebi, and then Dodo carries both the saddleback and the white genetics. So who knows? Who knows what happens in the future? But real quick, guys, stick with me for a minute. There might be a connection issue for just a second. Let me just check something real quick. Alright, guys, sorry about that. Are we still here? Everybody still here? Did I lose you guys? I was checking on their age to give you guys an exact. Hey, Sarah. Beep, beep, feeling any better? I'm sorry to hear that. That's cool, furry. Good for you. We're goose moms. I am indifferent. I do think it's an interesting form of art. Like, I'm an artist, so whenever people create their own costumes or like create their own outfits or their own clothing pieces or whatever it's referred to, um, I find it to take a lot of talent and work, and I find that beautiful. I think it's very beautiful when people create their own things. So, anyway, though, Paul, are you still here? Well, babies. Anyway, though, so I checked up the calendar real quick. That's what I was doing as fast as I could. I know I'm about to let you guys out again. I'm sorry. I know I tricked you. I'm sorry. Come on, babies. Come on. Well, come on. You gotta come with Mama. Come on. You gotta go rinse out your box because you guys made it all messy and dumped your water. Come on. All right, so I checked the calendar, and it looks like they are 3 weeks and like 3 or 4 days. So 3 weeks and 3 or 4, so 3.5 weeks almost. So almost 4 weeks old, not quite, but they're 3.5 weeks old. So I was off by a couple of days, but close. But still, it kind of makes sense because if you think about it, Canada geese, their size usually ranges from 7 pounds to like 12 pounds maybe on like the larger side. And I'm talking about regular Canada geese, not about the giants, obviously. The giants are much bigger. But I'm talking about just regular Canada geese, not the subspecies. So they usually range from like 7 to like 11 or 12 pounds. Whereas like minima cackling, so like the subspecies, usually ranges from, come on babies. What, you guys tired? I bet you are. It's hot out. Mama's gotta get the water hose, spray out your bucket, put the hay in it, and then you're able to go lay down and go sleep inside in the AC. It's okay, babies. So they're about 3.5 weeks old. And still, they are very small for that size if you compare them to Canada's. But like I said, see, with Canada geese, they're usually 7 to like 11 or 12 pounds at full size for the regulars. And then cackling are usually like, I think it's 1.5 to like 3.5 pounds at full size. Like they can range in that area. And I'm referring to specifically to minima cackling. But then with the bar heads, their size is like 4 to 7 pounds. So at their largest, they are as big as the smallest regular Canada goose. And at their smallest, they are as big as the biggest cackling goose, which I thought was really interesting. So it basically means they're going to be like literally a step between Squirt and the Canadas, which is going to be great because I am hoping. You okay? You got something stuck? Come here. Got it? We good? We good? Are we good? Are we good? But yeah, like I said, I think that's really awesome because they're gonna literally be like like the Bar Headed Goslings. If they're gonna be average size, they're gonna be like literally right in the middle of between Squirt and the smallest Canada goose. So like the smallest Canada goose and the largest cackling minima, and then they're going to be right in the middle of it, like like halfway between the two, if they're going to be an average size for themselves, for their own breed. Which most of the birds usually come in at like an average, not at the max or the minimum. So like Squirt's probably somewhere around 2.5 pounds or something, most likely. Like probably around 2 pounds, to be honest. If I had to judge based on how much she weighs when I pick her up, I'd say she's no more than 2 pounds. And then, the Canadas, most of them are probably ranging somewhere between 7 and 9 pounds. Probably eight, not 7 and 9, 8, 9 pounds is probably what the average female size is, I would say. Um, and then when you look at, no, come on. Ah, no, come on. That's poison ivy. You don't eat that. Come on. Come here. It's okay. Mama didn't mean to scare you. I don't want you eating poison ivy. It's okay. You okay? You okay, baby? Yeah. Mama had to keep you from getting a piece there. I know, I know. I'm sorry. But, but, mm-hmm. Exactly. The giants, they can get really big, but I thought it was really fascinating that the bar headeds are almost going to kind of create that like step in between Squirt and the Canadas and the rest of my geese, which is going to be really, really good because, see, if Squirt ends up getting along with them at any point, right, like, which I hope she will, then like she would have like she would be able to have her own little friends that are much closer in size to her. And who knows, no. No, you don't eat that. No. No, Mothra. Really? You're going to lay down and cuddle now? See, like if you put your hand underneath their chest, a lot of times it makes them lay down. Now she's down. With Mothra, it works almost every time. I know you guys are tired. I know you guys are tired, but Mama needs to get the water hose. Now, right? Well, I hope she doesn't then decide to harass the bar-headed geese. Lord knows, Squirt will go after everything. Oh, Mothra. Oh, Mothra. You're so cuddly. See, she's so cuddly. That's what she wants. This is what she wants all day long. She just wants to lay on my hand all day. He wants to just be close to us. Alright, guys, I'm going to have to get off here. I got a friend who just texted me. So I'm going to have to get off here, but I hope you guys enjoyed seeing the babies. And I will see you guys later. I'll try to remember to come live with Dodo soon so that you guys can see Dodo too and see how much Dodo has grown. So, anyways, I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you guys do well. I hope you guys are all happy and that all your goosies are doing well and all your pets are doing well. And I will see you guys soon. All right. Bye, guys.